I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
One moment, Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
I was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
And I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula. Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I have to live here. And we were trying to be live. If you're watching us live on Instagram, thank you and let us know. I can't tell. I'm genuinely too old to figure this out. One of my side gigs is helping older people figure out the internet. Isn't that hysterical?
You're the Gen Xer helping the boomer, and we need a millennial to help us.
Like, I think you hit the X. Try to hit the X. See what that happens. So today we're gonna just dive in. Todd's got a new insight that he'd like to share with all of us at the same time. So this is exciting for me because I haven't heard much of it, just that he has this cool insight. But before we get to his insight and possibly some news from me, because I've got some news to share, we're going to hear from our sponsor, and our sponsor is a local business that we like, and in this case, it is Good, Clean, Fun Life Productions.
Yes, Good, Clean, Fun Life Productions. We're rapidly approaching March, which is when we always celebrate what we do and what we have done. And I find myself in every so often, having done this for as long as we've done this, since 2009, asking what's the point. right. And I just made a post on our Good Clean Fun channel regarding an interview I did for Dewey Raw. That's the Dewey Beach Party podcast that we've been doing weekly up there for about 7 years now, taking big chunks off here and there, but it's still a substantial body of work for a podcast that's just been a passion project of mine. But I was talking with a good friend, and he is an absolute wonderful person, brings joy to the room wherever he is. He's heavily involved in the community. He coaches.
You're embarrassing me now.
It's not you, Tony.
Oh, all right.
He coaches volleyball at Cape, and I mean, literally, he's one of those people that you just see him enter the room, and everybody there just lights up. And I think I've talked about it on my podcast. I like to ask the question: if you were a food item, this is like an industry restaurant,
right,
meant to be. If you were a food item, what would you be and why? And I've gotten some great answers on that. And he took it a little different direction, and he said, "Well, I've often thought if I were a cocktail, I would want to be champagne, because." Not the taste, not the the bubbles or the lore behind champagne, but because the sound it makes when you pop the cork. And the cork popping on a champagne bottle is the personification of joy, and
that's pretty good.
And that's what he said he'd like to be. And back to why, with the state of the world the way it is. And asking myself is, why do we do what we do? And remembering that Good Clean Fun, which has now been a business for us for a long time, really started out of kind of a difficult situation. We were coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, and we had lots of friends who were like losing their jobs, and the future was bleak and unknown. There's a certain different level of bleakness and unknownness in this day and age, but it was pretty rough. And we decided that we were going to show people in a positive light because there was so much bad news on the horizon. And kind of early on with social media, it was mostly Facebook at the time and YouTube, but that became our why. was to spread joy by showing people in a positive light, and that was our mission, our charter back in 2009, and it still is today. And it's nice to be reminded of that every so often. And we started making content before making content was cool. Or before people called themselves content creators. Right?
I was thinking that the other day. I've run out of things to say, like, because there were all sorts of, like, I started at reporter, right, and then I started at blogger, and then it's like digital media impresario, and they've just got a different name and it is content creator now. But yes, you were doing all of those things.
Yeah. I mean, even way back to the first inception of the idea, which I know I've talked about before, but we had a zine, right? This is something we did when we were first getting married. It was like our way of communicating with friends leading up to the wedding, pre-social media. And I mean, it has evolved and has maintained this sort of same whimsy that it originally started. In fact, remind me, because I think what I'd love to do is you mentioned blog, like I feel like that's what we first called ourselves. We're bloggers, and we still have content on blogger.com. I'll need to find the link, but I'd like to send it to you and maybe share that in the show notes if you would.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. It's easier to find, like, anything. All my stuff is still on Blogger from when my stuff was on Blogger, and some of it's not bad. Some of it is horrifying. Yeah, but some of it's not bad at all.
Yeah. So, and it's funny too, because it actually reminds me of something else that I've seen is, like, remember when social media really started to get kicking off, and somebody's like, oh, don't put stuff on the internet, it's going to be there forever. And it's not an original thought, but somebody said, oh, I'd like to see my MySpace page, because you can't find your MySpace page, but I can find my Blogger. So maybe a little bit of you're right, a little bit of you're wrong, but if I may, with that kind of brings me to is the realization about the marketing aspect of this, right? I mean, the journey was we started making stuff to show people in a positive light, and then businesses liked what we were doing.
Here. Yeah,
and like, can you help us do that? And then so the photography and the videography and then the web development and and all of that. So we're I never went to school for marketing, but I've been in the School of Hard Knocks for the past 15 plus years, and we know a thing or two. And I always say, for an old guy, like we were joking at the head of this, I try to stay up on the trends,
right?
And when trends are changing ever so quickly, I think it's also advantageous to kind of resort on or fall back on the basic concepts, right? And that's what I was talking about pre-show, and then the insight that I have is, I guess, something that I came up with. It's kind of an expansion on the idea in marketing that you should only be promoting 20% of the time, and you should be doing brand building the other 80% of the time. And I think in today's day and age, there are multiple buckets between those things, and I came up with the 3 E's because one of the things that I think excel at is the experiential, the first E, the experiential part of things. So this is the showing what it's like to be at the Starboard, or to be at Freeman Stage, or to be in Berlin or on Delmarva, and kind of get a ground level view and experience of being there. And that's what we try to do with our videos, with the style that we do, and the authenticity that we always try to get across, and that sort of thing. And then, of course, with all of
I'm
the
sorry,
modern...
I'm gonna stop you to make sure we're talking about the same thing. When you say the buckets, you're talking about content buckets. Again, not a pleasant visual, but we'll take it while we have it. So content buckets, like things you make. You make things that fall into one of these three buckets.
Yes.
Or
So
I'm
when
sorry, you're saying it's wise to make things that fall into one of these three buckets.
Yes.
Or to make sure that if you make something, you can justify putting it in one of those buckets, and you don't need a fourth bucket because then you got lots of buckets.
Then you might have too many buckets. But it's also like the idea of finding that balance, right? Like you don't want to. I mean, I would like to do all experiential style videos, but as much as I hate to admit it, the engaging part, the second E, and the trends that are out there, and it's really to create content that other people are doing that is popular, that you can make your own twist on, to get engagement, to get numbers, and a lot of people, I'll say that it's vanity numbers, but it serves a purpose, right? And you might be exposed to that's another thing. You might be exposed to some other people that you wouldn't normally be exposed to.
And increasingly, numbers aren't merely vanity, because the more numbers you have, the more likely people are to see your thing, right? And that's always the complexity, right? Making sure that you're responding to comments. I mean, I think that of all the things that have kind of stayed true, of all the things that have not stayed true, responding to comments, being critical is not one of them. Like, making sure if someone comments, you comment back, because if there's discussion, then the internet is like, oh, look, people are actually talking about this. Yeah. This must be important. And that's only getting more with AI watching the store now.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I don't think it's difficult. I mean, obviously the algorithms are very complex and secretive and that sort of thing, and they give us little cues or clues as to what to do. But if you get traction, I mean, traction is traction, right? And if the more that you can build that, the more that they're going to push it out to more people. A lot of times, and the reason we often struggle is because we are so dedicated to showing people in a positive light. This was when we first came on. It was around the time of like TMZ's popularity on the internet,
right?
And and this whole thing about showing people messing up or falling flat on their face, and that's good.
Literally,
and
sometimes.
Yeah, literally. And I feel like it's only gotten worse now, where our lizard brain is bombarded with all of this rage bait stuff, which is, I don't know, like more recent phenomena, I feel, but it's able to be monetized because people want to engage with that. So again, that's where if you're doing something silly and trendy for the engagement, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as much as this old guy would like to tell you it is.
Well, and it's not. It's. I think that's the sugar, right? That's the.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the sugar. It's really, really, really tasty, but it's not great for you.
Yeah.
So
it's like eating a bag of Doritos. Like in the moment, you're going to be like, "Oh, this is awesome," and then an hour later, you're going to feel like shit.
And every now and again, someone needs to eat a bag of Doritos.
Yes.
On this last point, in 2000, I guess in 2001, but sometime before September, I read, actually it was probably January 2001 or December 2000, and it was someone trying to come to terms with the fact that George Bush had been elected. And this person, and it was pretty silly, but it hasn't ever left my brain, and here it is.
Yeah.
So this person argued in a really, like, this is a paragraph that I've just turned into my whole worldview. So I'm dumb for doing it.
I like
But
that.
they argued that the rise of Ben Stiller was the reason that George Bush was elected.
Yeah.
And what they said was we used to want Clint Eastwood and John Wayne. We used to want the person in the movie to be superior to us.
Right.
We used to want someone who was in charge and could take care of things.
Yeah,
But now we want someone we can feel superior to.
Yeah.
And they said that Ben Stiller plays characters that you feel superior to, and there's something nice about seeing someone on the big screen who's dumber than you.
Yeah.
And that was the argument. And I don't know if they were being serious or not. I couldn't even find the article for $1 million. But every day I wake up and I say, you know what? That's true. We need to feel superior.
Yeah.
We feel inferior, and we need to assert our superiority not by being superior, but rather by finding inferior people and looking at them a lot. And
Yeah.
when you just said that, I was like, yeah, I as a matter of fact, that's exactly what I think. That is that's the sugar E. But the sugar E is something that, you can do well, but you do have to be saccharine about it. Like, you can show someone falling down, or you can show a soldier coming home, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Those seem to be the two main kind of E's, but there must be E's in the middle.
Yeah. Well, and
Engagement.
okay, so that's two E's, right? The experiential and the engaging. But then I think the last is what we're doing right now. It's the educational, right? And so if there's purpose to the content to explain something or share experience, or even, I mean, you could maybe get a little bit of the promotional end of things in that, but you can also, if instead of thinking about, hey, you should come to our restaurant because we have this special. You could say we have great people who work here, and they work very hard to put together great food and really enjoy serving you. And that's a different type of promotion. And then go so far as to be like, here, we're going to have a video interview of this bartender that maybe you've seen on a busy day and haven't been able to speak to, but they look like an interesting person. Maybe you follow them on social media, but get to know somebody. And that's good educational content that really anybody could adhere to, because I do think that while we crave that sugar, right? You need a nice something hearty to bite into and to develop a relationship with people through these tiny little screens that we're that we're dedicated to.
I love that, because that works at a bunch of you can say, this is the way we do this is the way we do that, this is the way we do that, and that doubles as engagement, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. But it's not the sugar engagement, It's not, young people laughing and running around in their bathing suits or anything.
Yeah.
This is how the cook makes the food or whatever, right? This is how I scramble an egg.
Right.
So I'm not a YouTube person. It astounds me what people watch on YouTube. Like my daughter and my wife will talk about, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see the other thing? And I'll be like, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see any of those things. But they're I'm outside of culture. They're inside of culture. They're participating in it. I'm standing outside throwing rocks, so I'm not gonna,
You should have a YouTube channel of you just standing outside throwing rocks.
That I have a YouTube channel. It is me occasionally when I haven't been writing for so long, but I'm back to writing now, I think. And it's me doing my best sentence of the day. Have you seen this?
I love that.
Oh yeah. So I've done a couple of them. I think I might get back to them once I start writing again.
Yes.
And so how do you execute this practically? Right? What is your plan? So this is the idea. Oh, that's the other thing. I heard a really interesting take on this kind of pontificating. a lot of people give you plans, no one gives you tactics.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Right. So it's like, you should do this, you should do that, you should, but how? Like,
Yeah.
what is the approach that you use to, you know, to schedule out what you're going to do, or do you just, when you're shooting something, say, okay, I've eaten too many potato chips, it's time to switch over to
Yeah.
oatmeal or.
Well, and I think for us down at the beach and with the businesses that we do a lot of work with, this is a slower time of year, and so this is a perfect time of year to do that pontificating, to try to think about the bigger picture and what the overall strategy is, and to come up with a couple campaigns to run throughout the year. I mean, as far as tools, I mean, I'm a Google spreadsheet kind of person, and the nice thing with that too is now that we have a team with one of our the biggest client we have with the Starboard, is it's a shared document, it's a living document, and it's not it's a guideline, it's not a rule book, right? So we can drop ideas in there. The girls who are on site can share links back and forth, and then when something comes up, as an example, the storm was approaching last week, and I did a quick little search and found out that it's 40 days or something until the sun sets after 7 o'clock. And, when everybody's talking about the upcoming storm and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, guys, hey, that's a good, that would fall under, education. Right?
Yeah.
You were telling somebody something that they may not know. And then you drop that in over top of some nice drone footage from the beach party in late September. So it has that feel of, we're going to have a long stretch of this.
It makes it aspirational.
Yeah, it makes it, yeah. And so now, more to your question, though, this is the time of year to kind of lay some things out and try to get some ideas together, and that's where our head has been the last couple weeks, especially before we're going to Florida for 2 weeks. We're going to snowbird it for
good for you
for a little bit. So you got to get some things in place. And then, and then have all of the tools to be able to execute it once we hit the ground running.
I'm wondering that since, you've got, 2 months, a month, the shoulder seasons, this is very narrow shoulders. But you've got a month. This would be a good time to get a lot of like kitchen footage, because you can do it while you're not in the way, and you don't have to. One of the things I have, this little note on my computer, I ignore it, but I have it there. It says you do not have to publish everything immediately.
Yeah,
you can if you're having a productive week, pace yourself.
Stretch it out.
Yeah. Buy yourself an unproductive week 6 weeks from now.
Yeah.
With careful planning, and that's what I think that you'll be seeing from me is I'm going to do the work and then plan to release it, and then during that time plan a. So I'm going to write this story, and then I'm going to make a video, and the video is going to say, "Hey, I wrote this story. You should read it, and here is why." And then I'm going to not do anything with it. I'm going to schedule it, right? And then I'm going to schedule it to come out certain times and to remind people that, hey, I just did this and you should look at it. And that is, I think that's the missing piece. I think that's, it's certainly, I believe it might be the missing piece for us. I believe it's the missing piece for me, for sure. Yeah. Is just this like, I'm going to finish this now, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to do this tonight, and then I'm not going to do it tonight, and then Friday morning I'm going to be like, pow, right? Trying to get it out instead of, doing a nice schedule and like drip feed it.
Drip it out. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. And also it, scheduling it out can reduce the friction of, decision fatigue, right? Like
Yeah.
you're scheduling it out, and like it's gonna come out at this time, and that's automated to do, and then I don't have to think about it, and I don't like before hitting the button. Sometimes you get hung up on things, so
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Very excited about that. I'm excited for your 3 E's.
Yeah.
We should revisit this maybe when you're back from your vacation, or some other time when you're ready to lay out your tactics on your 3 E's. I think it would be cool to see how you kind of put that together.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I've borrowed from you. I know that when you were in the newspaper business, you talked about how there is consistent, 52 stories a year. Like this,
Yeah.
the last week in January, you do a story about this, and and we have, because we've been doing this for such a long time, and we've had clients for well over 10 years. The same clients for, in some cases, for 10 years plus, is, it's easy. You have all of that information. They go back and it's like, oh, look, we did this and that worked well. And let's, update it or replicate it, or, or just revisit the old item, which is something we've talked before about.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. I was checking my phone to see if we were live on Instagram, and I genuinely can't tell. So I'm sorry for the little bit of dead air, folks. If you are watching us on Instagram, or do you see this whole thing on Instagram, just let us know. I'm still, this is the old man thing in me, right? I just helped some old man figure out how to use his webinar gear, which I'm good at, and now I'm like, it says it's live, but I cannot see how it's going live. So
Yeah.
Those are the things I'm trying to overcome. I do have a little bit of news that I'd like to share. First off, I quit my job, my day job.
Huzzah.
I'm very excited about that. I'm going to continue to do, funeral industry coverage and stuff, but I just, I was miserable where I was, and I didn't feel like I had a future there. And so now I feel like I have a future, and it is so fucking pretentious, and I'm sorry. I hate it. I hear myself being pretentious. I feel myself feeling pretentious, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I want to hit myself with a bat, but other than hitting myself with a bat, there's little that can be done about it. It's like it's hard to say out loud. This is how bad it is. But like I'm a writer. Like I'm happy when I'm writing, and if I'm not writing good things, or if I'm writing good things and no one is seeing them, it makes me unhappy. And it is so fucking stupid. Like, I'm going to continue to do the same thing that I was doing for free instead of for pay, but I'll be able to make sure lots of people see it instead of no one seeing it. And I'll be able to write in the style that I'm comfortable with instead of some, contrived style. And those two things just will make me. I haven't written, a blog and since November 23rd was the last time I posted like a personal blog. And so hopefully all of that comes back. And I hope to kick it off either tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Thursday, because I put this out on Wednesday, or no matter what date it is, January 30th, I'll be publishing Rena Thaler did an interview with me about the Ocean City Film Festival, and I was going to hold that till later, but I want them to have something to use to promote it if they want to use, because she does lots of great stuff, and I think it'd be a good way to kind of start to get the word out, and I can do a lot of promotion for that. And then I have the podcast of the 10th anniversary retrospective, which I'm looking to release probably on the 10th. The 10th would be great.
Okay.
Of February. But if not the 10th, hopefully the 17th. And more on that as it comes forward. But since I'm out of work, I am looking for work. If you need any work done, I'm not like a gardener or anything.
Are you
However, if you're thinking of starting a podcast, if you're thinking of holding a webinar, all of those things I'm very good at. If you need something written, I'm your guy. I can write stuff. I do memoirs now, and I'm pretty good at that. It turns out. So, yeah, I'm your writer guy, and you can go to buytonyrusso.com to see all the things that I've written. No, you can see some of the things I've written. You can go to blogger.com and see if you can find the stuff I've written.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna send our blogger, and then you add yours to the mix. Also.
And we'll put that on the show notes, and we'll do that because we are out of time, and I'm out of things to say anyway. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, remember. Until next time at the beach, it's happy hour whenever you say it is.